Good evening, folks, and welcome back to another episode of South of the Cheddar Curtain. As always, it's your boy, Devin Hine, sitting across the team screen from the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Lucas Mueller. You want to start with the folks, Luke?
Hello, folks.
Lucas, let me ask you, how are you feeling?
Phenomenal.
Phenomenal.
Not
a bad word choice. Would you also say that, jacked would work? Is that a good word for the emotion in this moment?
Jacked would absolutely work, yeah. I'm excited, man. I'm excited, but I'll let you do your thing.
Like Colby jacked? All right, continue. I couldn't help myself. Couldn't do it.
I know, that's why before I got into my quick 2-second thoughts, I was like, let's let Devin have his moment.
That was predictable where that was going?
100%. As soon as you said jacked, knew where we were going. Now, maybe that's because we watched this game in person, which is pretty rare.
Indeed.
Right? And there were about 732 Kobe Jack jokes during the game, which honestly didn't help that we did have Kobe Jack cheese for some of our taco choices that we had while we were together. But nonetheless, Kobe had a great game, which I'm sure we'll get to. But what a phenomenal start to the season, right? This could have gone so many different ways, especially with the Packers historically not starting the fastest, right? Not necessarily coming out hot, but boy, did they ever. We looked great from the jump, had a little bit of a lull, but controlled the game from start to finish against our biggest rival to win the division. Obviously not our biggest rival in the division, but biggest to win the division, which should be a very good team. And man, we just looked better.
We really did from start to finish. And it wasn't perfect, right? There's a lot to clean up. We're going to go through it. I know Matt LaFleur talked about it a little bit in the post-game conference. But going into this game, even if we're being positive, even if we're thinking we're going to win, right? You can still think that there's things that we were worried about, right?
Yeah.
Like the run defense and the physicality and everything that I was worried about. We showed up and did 100%, like the best version of what I thought we could. And the stuff that we need to clean up is not stuff that I was worried about. So not only was this game so momentous, just with all the hype that we've had, with even just like the Micah Parsons experience, not only just having that star level player, but then seeing how that affects the game around him and how into it Lambeau was. I mean, the place erupted like it was a playoff game, and all the players said the atmosphere is like the most intense they've ever had in Lambeau.
Which is crazy to think about some of the big games that we've played there recently, but you're absolutely right. And I believe it was LaFleur talked about, and Parsons talked about how they purposely had him introduced last to try to get him that pop, that cool entrance and walkout. And boy, did it work, man. I mean, I remember they showed that on the broadcast, which they really don't do that normally. We don't get to see the players walk out like that, but they did for this one. And you could tell that Lambeau erupted and absolutely loved having Micah in the green and gold.
Absolutely, bro. And with him and this new look defense, I mean, the sky is the limit. We're going to be...
Absolutely. We're scratching the surface.
We're going to be fangirling about it all night, all season. Folks, I will be bringing out Micah Parsons' Instagram posts and stories for significance because
he's already sent me several. So now we get to share them with you guys.
But you can't tell me you aren't excited when you see them.
Oh, of course. Of course I am. Of course I am. And I'm just going to get it out of the way right now. You want to know who else is probably excited to hear about this? One of our biggest fans.
Our boy, Thunder Snow, the legend himself. I know you're listening. Appreciate you coming back to us after we were inconsistent. I mean, between that, the Micah Parsons trade, the Bo Melton phenomenon. Folks, this is the year. Somebody said it a few months back, and when he says things like that, he's always going to bring it up. But this is the year. The time is now. And what was funny is I feel like a lot of other Packer pundits labeled their episodes after the game. The time is now. And I'm like, okay.
Where you guys been at?
Trademark South the Cheddar Curtain? Okay. But speaking of
Our legal team will be in touch.
Yeah, exactly. Good luck with that. But speaking of South the Cheddar Curtain, speaking of tradition, we're going back to it, baby. I think, and I know, with every little brain cell that I have, that how I feel right now is the closest I have ever been to pulling the trigger on a defensive lineman jersey. And the crazy thing is I can't pick between the two. Devontae Wyatt and Colby Wooden, who I know I have talked glowingly about on this show. I feel like you have Been positive, much less, more grounded, which is as per usual.
It's kind of our thing.
But I couldn't have imagined they played as well as they did. Conversations after the game with guys on defense, they knew that Detroit was going to try to run it down their throat. Colby wouldn't have said, when asked, hey man, have you heard about, all this talk about the Packers run defense? And he said, oh yeah, I heard it. And the reporter also asked, so is that like what motivated you? And he's like, no, what got me was when my dad called me and said, shut them up. And by golly, he did. Colby Wooden, Devontae Wyatt. I mean, I put them as players of the game. They were exceptional.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful, Devin. I know. It probably should be an I think, but we're going to go I know because I'm feeling good. I know that Micah Parsons is obviously big deal, right? But do you want to know who he's going to be the biggest deal for?
Nessie.
Absolutely Nessie. So in case you haven't heard, Micah Parsons is just name-dropping Lucas Van Ness at every possible moment, right? He's not talking up Rashawn Gary specifically that much, or the rest of the D-line. He's talking about them as a group, what they're going to do, how they're going to work, all that kind of good stuff you would expect. But I swear, every time a microphone is in front of this guy, he is hyping Nessie up, right? And his most recent quotes, I think, were by far the best and the coolest to hear. And that was, he was comparing him, he was comparing him, but his potential to Cameron Wake and Julius Peppers, and how he was going to get him there.
Exactly.
Right? That was the coolest thing. Not just like, hey, this dude's a freak, but he was like, we're going to work. We're going to keep working out together. We're going to keep working. I'm going to get him there. I told him, you're a 4-5 guy. Now it's time to show it. I mean, Nessie was already taking steps, and now if he's got one of the best pass rushers in the league, taking him under his wing and showing him the ropes on how to use that crazy athleticism, comparing him to Cameron Wake, who probably historically an underrated pass rusher because he was kind of floundering in Miami for a long time. And then Julius Peppers, wild stuff, man. And just, I think, tip of the iceberg with the good performance we saw from him this week.
Nessie had 4 pressures from week 1 through 7 last year. He had 4
pressures. Not a lot, guys.
Not a lot. He had 4 pressures in week 1.
Love that.
And Micah Parsons is his new best friend. I agree. I don't know if it's just a Micah really trying to hype him up. I'm sure he believes in him an extent, but also just, giving somebody love, encouraging them, and especially knowing coming from, the best edge rusher in the NFL. If he thinks you got it, then maybe you're going to believe you got it more.
Right. Maybe he thinks he needs that little extra boost, whatever the case is.
But, man, like you said, name-dropping Nessie left and right. Mm-hmm. He also posted something today, his Instagram story, about how after his first sack, he posted Nessie and Gary's reactions, shouting out them for them being such good teammates. And I'm going to ask you to be the better historian on this, Lucas, because I feel like, with Michael, there was kind of a feeling that there was some drama. And now I'm really wondering if that was just mainly related to Jerry Jones, because since he has become a Packer, he has been the most glowingly positive teammate. I know it's super early, but just some of the things that he says, they're not even the best answer I could come up with. Bro, what? Do you actually bleed green and gold? Because it feels like you're one of us.
I think it's probably twofold. One is definitely Jerry Jones, right? 100%. I think the other part of it is he's a very outspoken, not in a bad way, but outspoken, wears his heart on his sleeve guy. Right?
Nothing,
which is cool.
Nothing
He's
wrong
got
with
his
that.
Podcasts and stuff. No, you can relate. But what happens when things don't go well? I'm not saying that's going to happen with us. Obviously, I think the opposite. But if things aren't going great, and you wear your heart on your sleeve, the optics of that aren't always as good as you might hope, right? And then you add in this behind the scenes Jerry Jones drama, right? And you get someone who's probably a little grumpy, right? And that's completely fair given the situation he was in. I think it's just kind of his personality and how he shows that. The flip side is when things are going well, he's going to help make them go great.
He absolutely is, my friend. This team Was already frozen pizza coming out, but he is the ranch. We're set. We're set, baby.
That's gross.
Even better. I know you hate ranch. We discussed this when I learned that Bo Melton also doesn't like ranch. Kind of broke my heart.
Shout out, Bo.
Not as much as his shoulder injury keeping him out for tomorrow night's game, but we will get there.
R.I.P. Bo.
R.I.P. Bo. R.I.P. But yeah, with Micah, I feel like it was a lot of Jerry Jones, which, as I can also, personally relate, when you're in a toxic situation, sometimes you don't always come out your best self. You don't always show up as you would like to. And then
that's the way it works.
When you surround yourself with people that love you and celebrate you, you glow. And it seems that is exactly what has happened to Micah. And again, sky is the limit. I said it to you guys during the game, bro. Like, obviously, I love watching J-Love. I wanted to see which receivers were not going to drop the ball. I wanted to see if Luke Musgrave wasn't going to fall down, but I was so much more hyped for every single defensive snap. And they balled out.
They 100%. They made it fun to watch. Fun to watch. Do you have another I think or I know? Because I do.
Oh. I think this is the first time that Luke has had more I think and I knows. And I think I've never been more proud of him in my entire life. And I'm going to turn it back to you, Mr. Mueller.
That's a solid one. All right. So this is a little bit more recent news before we dive back into the game. But I know that the extension we gave Christian Watson makes perfect sense. Right? So if you haven't heard the news yet, we extended Christian Watson by 1 year. So his contract is no longer up at the end of this year. It is up at the end of 2026. And for that year in 2026, we will pay him $13 million, which is kind of like average, below average receiver money, right? The crazy receivers are getting a lot more. You can't get a ton for $13 million on the open market for a receiver. A lot of people are like, oh, he's always hurt, yada, yada, yada. What are you going to do? People need to remember, and his dad actually brought this up on Twitter because his dad can't get off Twitter.
Yeah.
But probably should once in a while. But we tried to trade up into the first round to take Christian Watson so we could get the fifth-year option. So if you don't know, if you draft someone in the first round of the NFL draft, their contract is for 4 years, and then the team holds a fifth-year option for an inflated amount of money compared to the first 4 years, but you get to keep them for an extra year, right? We tried with Minnesota to go up to the first round to have that control for an extra year before he hits free agency. They said no. They agreed to our trade at the beginning of the second round. So really, we should all just think about this as the unofficial fifth-year option, but for less money, right? And I think this kind of does a couple things for us and or Christian Watson. One, gives us an extra year without having to figure out the wide receiver room, because both him and Romeo's contracts are up at the end of the year, or were. And losing both of them at the same time, even if Golden balls out, that's not a great spot to be in potentially, right? So you can at least stagger some of that having to find a replacement. And the thing it does for Christian is it allows him to not have to worry about rushing back as soon as humanly possible, so he can try to ball out and get a big contract in the offseason. Gives him some more security to make sure he finishes his rehab correctly and comes back when he's ready without trying to force the issue and potentially re-injure himself. So with all that said, I think it makes absolutely perfect sense. Gives us an extra year of security, an extra year of Christian, and gives him the opportunity to come back when he's ready. And he seems like he's well ahead of pace, actually, anyways, which we talked about last time. But gives him a little peace of mind and gives him an extra year to show that he's worth higher-end wide receiver money. And if he is, and if he does next year, that's a good problem for us to have, because that means he was healthy and he had a great year.
Yeah, man, absolutely. I mean, like you said, really smart on both fronts. Love it for Christian that he doesn't have to feel like he needs to rush and come back and maybe play before he's ready. And I love it for us because I love Christian Watson.
Yeah.
When he's on the field, I mean, he's easily now my favorite Packer receiver. I would say my favorite since MVS. And even with my love affair with MVS, I knew in reality, like, he was not actually him. I'll say it. I loved him dearly, but, like, He was not. But Christian Watson, if you could turn injuries off, I would want the ball in his hands almost every single play.
Correct. And as we saw last year, when he's on the field, the offense is better. Doesn't matter if he touches the football or not. The offense is statistically significantly better anytime he's on the field.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I'm really hoping we get him back at the end of this year for a nice playoff run and that he's able to stay healthy. And then we do have, that problem a year later, which would be a great problem to have. It really would be. And I still think that ultimately the receiver room does kind of just work itself out. But I like that we have Christian Watson for a little bit longer because, thinking ahead towards the end of the season, because that's how crazy we are. You think about contracts and pieces and the window, and especially with the Parsons situation and his contract, just how much cap we lose essentially because of him, which so far worth every single penny. And
no complaints.
He's going to turn Lucas Van Ness and Julius Peppers. So hopefully though, if that's the case, when we get an interception late in the NFC Championship game, it'll be Micah Parsons telling the defensive back to keep running
and not to get down.
To get down. Reference, if you know, you know. But yeah, I'm happy we're going to have Christian around longer. I really do think that when he is on the field, this offense is next level. As you said, we've seen it statistically. He is, I don't think it's a hot take to say, the most athletically gifted receiver maybe we've had in our lifetime. I mean, Devontae was by far the best receiver. But if we're talking about football player, being able to run through guys athletically,
the only other one would be Javon Walker, maybe. That's it. And that's a maybe.
That's a maybe.
I mean, Christian Watson is all-time historic freak athlete.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Any in his last the last few years, he has become a mauler in the run game too. He wants to get in there.
He's probably our best run blocker at the wide receiver position. That's a big deal, especially in this offense.
Absolutely. All right. Do you want to do offense, defense? You want to just do things we like, things we didn't like? What comes to your mind?
Let's do offense, defense. Let's do that.
Offense, defense. Okay. Yeah. Well, let's start with the quarterback, Jordan Love. I mean, overall, pretty good game. He did have basically 2 interceptions. One that was caught that was called back on a penalty, and then the one that went right to Alex Anzalone. I thought overall he was pretty accurate. Besides the 2 interceptions, spread the ball around pretty well. I mean, everyone got involved. Wicks caught the ball. Dobbs caught the ball. Golden a couple of nice plays. I mean, it was 7, 8 different receivers caught the ball, Luke?
Counting right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
10.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. So he was spreading the ball out well, seeing the ball well. You do just see that gunslinger mentality, which, again, with the 2 interceptions, will cost you. Thankfully, one was dropped and one didn't count. But the couple of his throws, the deep post to Romeo Dobbs and the touchdown to Kraft. I mean, inch to the left, inch to the right, inch low, inch high. That's not getting to your receiver. It was absolutely pinpoint perfect. And I continue to be amazed how many of those throws that we see, and I'm not trying to sound like Chris Collinsworth here, but they're like Rodgers-like throws.
Here's a guy. No, I think he overall had a good day. Not a great day, but a good day. Yeah, he had 2 bad throws, and they were back-to-back, so that was a little scary. But if you take those 2 out, right, I thought he had a really nice day, and I think the big thing for him is he looked so calm, right? Outside of maybe the pick 6 that didn't happen. He just looked so calm and in control. He had plenty of time. He didn't start doing kind of like what we saw Caleb Williams do on Monday night and get a little happy feet, right?
No ghosts.
Stood in there, delivered the ball. I mean, I was really impressed by what I saw, knowing that this isn't as good as it gets, but if this is baseline Jordan Love, we're probably feeling pretty good, right? Because you're right, especially that Tucker Kraft throw was really, really good. The Romeo Dobbs one was great. He had another good throw to Jaden Reed. They kind of went through Reed's arms. Was a phenomenal throw as well. So it seemed like he was seeing the field well. He had an overthrow to Kraft early on in the game, which is a little bit of a bummer. But overall, things considered, thought he had a really nice day. It was very in command and did everything we needed him to do. right? Like I said, if this is kind of baseline Jordan Love, I'm happy, right? If this is average, I'm good with it, right? That'll be enough, especially with this defense, to win us a lot of football games, and we know he has kind of an extra gear when we need it. So, yeah, I thought he played well.
You have a little bit of its early season, and some of those throws he will not try in the playoffs unless he absolutely needs to. It's kind of like the training camp effect, right? They always say take the interceptions in training camp with a grain of salt. And I know these games count, but like in more key situations, I believe he does a better job of protecting the ball.
And also, all of our wide receivers were hurt during training camp in the preseason. So, and they still kind of are. But there's probably still some getting on the same page, getting the rhythm down with all of them as well.
Indeed. Well, it was a nice thing that Jordan Love had a good day because the running game did not. Josh Jacobs, 19 carries, 66 yards, which was the Lions' game plan, though.
100%, yeah.
Jacobs said in an interview that the Lions were basically like, okay, we're not going to let him win. We are going to make the receivers beat us, and based on the drops from last year, I wouldn't say that was a bad strategy.
Because you got to pick your poison.
Of course, it's Green Bay. We're going to try to run it down your throat. And so we saw a lot of crowded boxes. Meant for a frustrating day for Josh Jacobs. He did continue his touchdown streak of how many now, Lucas? Like 10?
It's something like that because he got hot at the end of last year, yeah.
Yeah, so he continues to keep that going for you. Good for you, Josh Jacobs. And again, he seemed like he was frustrated that he didn't have more production, but he also understood his role. Still running hard, still plowing through people. If it's 3 yards as opposed to 2, we'll always love Josh Jacobs. Always. But that leads us to the receiver room, man.
No. Couple things. One, we have to talk about our new running back, Tucker Kraft, on his jet sweep.
Oh, yes. Which I know you had some mixed feelings about as you were wearing your Tucker Kraft jersey.
As I was wearing my Tucker Kraft jersey that someone was kind enough to purchase for me. Thanks, bud.
Thank you, Thunder Snow. No, I'm kidding.
But yeah, that was weird, right? I love Tuck. I think he's a great athlete. Phenomenal after the catch. Not sure that's his best use, but in reality, that's probably just to show that you have to pay attention to him when he's in motion. Because we put Kraft in motion all the time. I think it's just something to put on tape for the future. Not that we're necessarily going to go to it ever, but if that makes that outside backer, defensive end, slot, corner, whatever, just hesitate a little bit when he comes through, it's probably worth it, right? For a 3-yard gain, whatever.
I would say, I do think at this point, Golden's still second week. No Watson. I think defensively, Tucker Kraft is someone they need to be watching like all the time. Like I think that is their number one cue in the passing game already. But yes, I can see how it's another look and make them think about it.
Yeah, just make somebody hesitate for a split second. That's all you need, especially with our run game. Another thing, Jordan Love, long of 3 yards. So he was only 32 yards short this week. We're just going to have a tracker every week. We're going to bring it up.
This is why we had to go back. This is why he had to go back, so you could rub in my face.
Well, I got one more.
Don't.
And then shout out to the running backs for their pass protection.
Chris Brooks.
Did you see that clip?
I did see that clip.
Where he starts blocking somebody, pass him off to the offensive line, finds himself kind of where the center was, like in the middle of the offensive line, up against their defensive tackle, and just stonewalls them. Like that, phenomenal. Josh Jacobs had a really nice pickup too. So clearly that's something that they've emphasized because Josh Jacobs historically has not been great at it. Brooks has. But really, really nice job by those two, which is part of why Jordan felt so comfortable because the backs were doing work in pass protection.
And I think Chris Brooks is officially third down running back. I mean, it seems like last year they kind of split it. Towards the end, you were kind of seeing more Chris Brooks snaps in third down, and it was becoming apparent why. But yeah, that job is his. Not a big day on the ground, but also I was a little surprised that Wilson and Brooks only had 1 carry each. I mean, I guess we only ran it 21 times, but got to be careful with Jacobs, keeping him nice and fresh. It'd be cool if we had a scat back to take some of those carries, give a little more pop than Emmanuel Wilson or Chris Brooks. But I'm just talking crazy now. Or Ja'Cory Bill in the 7th round could have been there, but continue.
Now I'm good going to receivers. Just had to get that out of my system.
All right, well, then you take it because I had to lead it, and you were like, nah.
Fair enough. So I think overall, good day. I mean, like we talked about, they spread it out like crazy, so no one really got to shine. Romeo had that deep post. Probably the last of our receiving core, tight ends included, that I would expect that from. Right? That feels like a Golden, a Reed, maybe even a Wicks, Musgrave. I think Romeo is probably the last one I would necessarily expect on that. But hey, he beat him deep and he made him pay. Reed had a pretty decent day, right? He had that touchdown on the right sideline, which is cool. Otherwise, I thought he did relatively well, minus the drop. Wicks was fine. Caught both his targets. Didn't drop anything. They're little. They didn't look great necessarily, both catches, but they were both catches. Kraft had the nice touchdown. He's really becoming a weapon in the middle of the field, I think. Great to see. Golden got he's caught his only 2 targets. He looked great, or at least fine, right? There's just, when we don't only throw the ball 22 times and nobody gets more than 3 catches, it's going to be hard for any of them individually to shine. But that's part of the beauty of our offense, is that we don't need one person to shine because we're so deep in those skill positions. You don't know where it's coming from. And all of a sudden, Romeo beats you deep post. So, nice. It was good to see John Fitzpatrick got a catch. All 3 tight ends got a catch. That was cool. And Savion got 1 catch for 1 yard. So, shout out Savion.
Mr. Romeo Dobbs, I will start with you. In this offseason, especially after the draft, and you're looking at the roster, you're looking at how the numbers crunch, and there were a lot of trade rumors around Romeo Dobbs. And honestly, out of everyone in the room, I would have been pretty okay with that. I figured he'd be more expensive than Dontavian Wicks. They can be at points, a similar value, especially I feel like those 2 are the ones that have the most drops,
And they're both kind of the possession guy, right?
Yeah. But then Romeo reminded me that despite his name being Romeo and associated with love, Romeo's best traits are his anger. And there are few things that I love more on the Green Bay football field than angry Romeo Dobbs. And for both of his catches, and there were a couple other instances too, so I couldn't tell you the other plays this happened on, but you saw very angry, mean, in-your-face Romeo Dobbs. I mean, you talk about, wanting guys that are enforcers, that set a tone. I mean, Romeo just seems like a quiet, nice dude, and then there's just sometimes on the field where he's going to kill you. And I thought it was a great day from him. Like I said, Reed had the nice touchdown. Dontavian Wicks caught the ball. Luke Musgrave caught the ball. Didn't up on the ground, but that's usually what happens. So still proud of you, though, doing something, Luke.
I did laugh during that play, though, because I think it was Brian Branch, who was in coverage, also fell down on the play to Luke Musgrave. I'm like, oh, here we go. The defender already fell down. Here's Luke's time to just run right past him. No, Brian Branch immediately got up and tripped him up. I was like, oh, man, so close.
Next time for Mr. Musgrave. Honestly, man, just not dropping the ball, especially after what we saw in that first preseason game of Romeo having like 3 drops, and it was just like, oh shit, here we go again. Just seeing that, like I kind of tried to mention as our show began, I don't know if I was talking in circles, but like the things that I was worried about going into this game, everything went great. The run defense, our boys not catching the ball, like wonderful. And the things that didn't go so well, a couple of Jordan's questionable decisions, the fact that we couldn't run the ball very well, those are things that I'm not actually concerned about because I know that we're going to figure it out. And at least for, the run discrepancy, teams are going to have to respect this passing game. And it's only going to get better as hopefully people get more healthy, as we have more time with Mr. Golden, with Mr. Savion Williams, who looked beautiful with that hair. Iconic every time I saw it. Every time, even though he had a little questionable move on a kick return, apparently. I was indisposed, but you filled me in that was a good time to have stepped away.
Yeah. And I'll get to him in just a second because I want to give us some props. But back to people being a problem on the field, did you see Tucker Kraft after he scored his touchdown, right? Talking smack to Brian Branch.
He was mic'd up.
He was. And he did not let that change what he said.
After he scored, I will keep it PG for the families at home. He said, what are you going to do about it? You bad word.
and Tucker hates the Lions. Specifically their safeties.
He hates the Lions. And the Lions have, 2 all-pro safeties. Kirby Joseph has been notoriously a dirty player, has taken some shots at Kraft's knees. Matthew Stafford called him out in the playoff game, so it's known around the league that he doesn't exactly play within the rules. Mm-hmm. And then Brian Branch, I don't think as dirty. He's just a very physical player. Mm-hmm. I would say one of my favorites. I mean, outside of ours, obviously, but again, it's me. If I'm drafting a Madden team and I can get Brian Branch, I'm going to be pretty stoked. Brian Branch is dope.
He's good.
And, there would be points, and I'm thinking about this matchup, and I would be concerned about the two of them, especially Branch and his physicality. But Tucker Kraft going and dominating him and then going over to him and saying that, holy shit, man. Are we going to be some bullies?
Feels that way.
It really did, both offensively and defensively. Again, talking about running through people, you wish we ran the ball better, but overall, physicality-wise, it felt like we were taking it to these boys. And I can't tell you the last time I felt like that. I mean, there's been games where we have won and we have made nice plays. But for us to be the physically dominating team and them being the ones backing down, we talk about how this game felt different. That's a big reason why, at least to me.
I completely agree, and I think some of that, not Tucker, obviously. Tucker's kind of a psycho, but in a good way. But some of this also goes in with our newfound offensive lineman philosophy, right? Where we used to only get essentially smaller guys, and we've been getting more big maulers the last couple of years. It's we're really trying to become a bigger, more physical, more imposing and dominating team. And it was cool to see that week 1 against a team that tries to impose their will on you, that tries to bully you, tries to push you around. We were having none of it and did it right back to them. That was pretty cool to see. And like you said, definitely not the Packers' normal MO.
Where are we at now? I mean, do we just touch offensive line? Do we need to go? I mean, the news there is that Zach Tom is banged up. He's questionable for tomorrow.
And Banks.
Banks is as well. The interesting thing when that happened in game is I believe Zach Tom went down first. Mm-hmm. And the first person we put in was Mr. Kennard, the guy that we traded for from the Eagles. Yeah.
And he played well.
You know it's a moment when Lucas and I look at each other and we're like, who the bad word is that number? We both didn't know. And we're like, okay, what is this, some Kadeem Telford bullshit? Where you put in the fourth best option on the top of our heads. Who is Donovan Jennings? Who? And then we're like, I see a K and an ARD. It's Kennard. It has to be.
It has to be.
So he goes in. Yeah, he was. You know what? You didn't even notice he was in, which is all you want as an offensive lineman.
All you need.
It wasn't like he was, there was a turnstile from the right side. Oh, shit, what happened there? No, you couldn't even tell. Fantastic. And then Aaron Banks goes down. And then I felt like at that point they shuffled a little bit because Jordan Morgan came in.
Yeah.
And they did bring in for just a little bit, put him in a right tackle. Anthony Belton, he had a few snaps.
He did.
It didn't really do anything, unfortunately.
Didn't really matter, no. But yeah, that was interesting kind of going into this upcoming week. I'm curious how that goes. I feel a little bit better about our depth after not noticing it, right? That was pretty cool. Obviously, I want Tom back and Banks back, but it's good to know that the depth was already tested and we passed.
Yeah, I feel better even just for seeing Kennard for a little bit than I would have if we were in the same injury situation with Zach Tom and we didn't see him play. If it happened the last 100%. Play of the game and we didn't see the replacement in. So, thank you, Gutekunst, again.
Yeah, good move.
We missed on Isaiah Simmons and we missed on McCole Hardman, but it's not a free agent signing, but another kind of bottom of the barrel, bottom of the roster move to give yourself better depth. This one's looking like it's going to be on the return on investment list in Gutekunst's offseason report. Absolutely.
Already paying off.
Well, defensive line, I mean, we've been talking about it plenty. One thing I did like to highlight is that a little example of the Micah Parsons effect. When the Lions are backed up and they have it on their own, 1 or 2 yard line.
Yeah, that was hilarious.
And they try to run the ball and they either double or triple team Micah Parsons and the floodgates of the offensive line open. It almost looked like a drill. like that you would do in training camp, like a tackling drill where it's just you and the running back, and then you have, the pads keeping you in one lane. It was like that, but it was just either Gibbs or Montgomery and Colby Wooden. And I was like, guys, you should probably try to block him.
He was in the middle. Yeah.
And he made the play, and it was perfect. I mean, I wish it was a safety. We were close a couple times, but you should probably block that guy.
Block the guy that's like 2 feet in front of the running back? Yeah, probably. Couple things. Yeah, the center just immediately went right and just left Colby Wooden wide open, who started the play right on top of him. Also, one of our good friends that we watched the game with, James, he brought something up, and his favorite phrase from the offseason was when I was talking about wide receivers and can they make you miss in a phone booth, and that I said Matthew Golden couldn't make you miss in a phone booth, which he proved right again in this game because he got tripped up and like his one chance to have some yak. But I digress. He sent us a picture of this, right, in the group chat of that play, and it's just Colby Wooden like breaking down to tackle and the running back, and they're just staring at each other, like 2 feet apart from each other. And you can't make Colby Wooden miss in a phone booth. He is the phone booth. Phenomenal job with that. And yeah, he was just a big dude, completely in the way. Really thought we were going to get a safety there or with the Gary sack. Didn't happen either time. But if we have them backed up on their 1 yard line and they never get off the 1 yard line, job well done, defense.
Yeah, defensive line was stout. Big stat, and this is, defensive line and linebackers, but we held Jahmyr Gibbs to Luke? 10 catches for 31 yards?
Correct. Which is
a record.
The least amount of yards on 10 or more catches ever in NFL history.
So I told that to my old man, and he's like, okay, but what about 9 catches? And I'm like, Dad, just stop. Like, it is a glorious point and shows how well we swarmed and communicated. Mm-hmm. I mean, Jahmyr Gibbs is top 5, top 3 most elusive running backs in the NFL, and he's just as good out of the backfield.
Yeah. Right? I would put him maybe like Bijan and Saquon as like hardest to bring down one-on-one situations,
And the reason he had so many targets is, I mean, they ran a couple screenplays, but it was just a lot of
checkdowns. So many checkdowns.
A lot of checkdowns. They had one play on a busted coverage where they hit, I think it was Amon-Ra St. Brown on like a crosser. Yeah. But besides that, bro, everything was within 10 yards of the line of scrimmage.
Which was great to see, and was largely due to the defensive line getting some pressure quick, right? And not just Parsons. Mm-mm. I mean, Parsons definitely helped, but everybody did. Gary had a sack and a half, right? Nessie had half a sack. We had a bunch of tackles for loss. Like, we were living in the backfield, making Goff uncomfortable.
Devontae Wyatt had a sack.
Devontae Wyatt, yes. It was a thing of beauty to watch. We only had 4 sacks on the day, but there was pressure all the time.
And on their running plays, even when they gained yardage, I just didn't want to see this defensive line get pushed back at the point of attack, which numerically a lot of our guys in the middle are smaller. I mean, Nazir Stackhouse is bigger than Kenny Clark was, but that's just about it.
Yeah, even Colby Wooden, I mean, he's not actually a big defensive tackle. He got much bigger to play defensive tackle, but I mean, we're not.
He's still slender.
Right. He's still thin, relatively speaking.
And Carl looks like he's like 270.
Yeah, which is pretty much what he's been the whole time.
He's like 6'4", 6'5", and he's jacked, but he's lean. Like there's not a whole lot of size there.
Right.
At least, to plug the run, which now he is defensive tackle 3. And we saw him, and we saw Nazir Stackhouse, and both of them did fine. I don't remember. I think Carl was in on a tackle for loss. Nothing too stand out from Stackhouse. But again, Nazir Stackhouse is our undrafted free agent, defensive tackle. As long as the running play isn't going through you, I'm happy with it.
Yeah, success, right? Success. Really nice play. And then kind of marrying the front to the back, right? Parsons gets a quick pressure on Penei Sewell, who he had a great game against Penei Sewell. And what does that lead to? Evan Williams interception.
Micah Hyde. Oh, sorry, same person.
I was going to say, who said he looked like Micah Hyde before his rookie year? That would be
Lucas. Me. That was you. Right. I mean, that's just, listen, that is a really lofty praise, even if you're saying he looks like him, but I don't think it's unfair to say that he plays like him too. Like this scrappy, intelligent, will thump, even though he isn't the biggest thumper. Like he's going to come up and try.
Yep.
Good motor, good IQ. Love him.
The linebackers had a great day as well. Well, hold on. We got to talk about that Micah Parsons sack, first of all. Like, that was wild. I can't think of the last time I saw a player like hunt like that, right? I know a lot of people have talked about it this week, but like he popped out of the pile and the way he just ran Goff down, that was a thing to watch. Like he looked hungry chasing him.
I used to call Quay Walker the Velociraptor. And so I don't know what to call Micah Parsons. Like you said,
we'll workshop it.
We'll get there. But like you're watching that play, and yeah, he emerges from the pile. But how many times have we seen a quarterback, especially like Goff, roll out like that, and you can see that we have Packers in pursuit, and they just can't quite get there.
Right.
The acceleration that he showed, my brain couldn't wrap my head around it, right? It's like when you're learning how to drive, and you're understanding speed and distance, and how much you have to slow down before you turn and whatnot. And my dad always said that when I was learning to drive, watching like football chase downs, like you can know if someone's going to get to somebody else or not.
Yeah.
When Micah Parsons, when he broke out of that pile, there seemed to be no way that he should have gotten there in time because every other player that we have watched would not have gotten there in time.
Yeah.
Maybe Clay. And Micah Parsons is still a step above Clay. Amazing to see. I cannot wait for more opportunities to see what this man can do that bends my mind's understanding of reality.
I completely agree. And I think you brought it up. He is technically a better athlete than Clay. Dude ran a 4.39 40. Like, that is wild.
But to be fair, Clay had much better hair, also a variable here.
Significantly better hair, right? And maybe that's why he ran a slower 40, honestly, was weighing him down in comparison. If he shaved it off, maybe he runs a 4.39. We don't know. Anyways.
Conspiracies abound.
But hey, then we wouldn't have been able to take him at the end of the first, so it worked out just fine for us. But he's the only other person I can think of that seems to have that like hunger for the sack. Do you know what I mean? That he's going to hunt you relentlessly until he gets there. He's the only person I can think of that has that similar play style that we've ever seen in a Green Bay Packer uniform.
Yeah, I got nothing. He's one of one.
He's awesome. That was cool to see. And also, like you said earlier, the excitement from Nessie and Gary. I mean, Gary was putting his hands up in celebration, and Micah Parsons was still like 10, 15 feet away from Jared Goff. But he knew. Like, it was like as soon as he broke the pile almost, Gary was like, all right, we got him. No problem.
As other pundits have said, everybody else in that stadium knew that Jared Goff was going to get got, except for Jared Goff.
Which was beautiful.
So Adrian Cooper had what? 12 tackles, led the team?
12 tackles led the team.
He did have one embarrassing miss, but overall, beautiful day from him.
Yeah, and I
think go for it.
Without Cooper and Bullard similarly and Quay, those 10 catches for Jahmyr Gibbs go for a lot more than 31 yards. Right? Like, the tackling was so good, and it just didn't really matter. There was one really cool play. That was a good example of this, and a good example of a lot of things was, right, we had a blitz called. I think Valentine was coming in on a corner blitz. We see it's empty formation. We call off the blitz. We audible on defense, which is not something we would have ever done under Joe Perry. Because he was on the record saying you can't really communicate in the middle of the offense motioning and stuff like that. You kind of are already set in your defense. Clearly not the case under Halfley. So we check off the corner blitz. They motion Gibbs into the backfield. We put the corner blitz back on. Right? So we send Valentine, I believe, off the edge. Goff feels pressure, immediately has to throw early to the little swing outlet pass to Gibbs, who has a lead blocker in front of him. It doesn't matter at all. We have 3 Packers converging on the football. One takes the blocker, the other 2 combined for the tackle for like 1 yard. Right? Just the speed, the pursuit, the mental side of the game that the boys are playing with on defense right now to kind of uncheck and then recheck into a good play call for that situation. And then the rallying and tackling to make sure it doesn't matter what you do. Where you catch the ball is where you're going to fall. And that's something we're not used to seeing with the Packers.
What? Where did you come up with that from? I think I usually have good lines when I'm passionate. Damn, Luke.
There we
Okay.
go.
Well done, sir. I liked how you grouped Quay Walker, Edgerrin Cooper, and Javon Bullard. Because I feel like we were playing a lot of cover 2, cover 3, cover 4, and they're basically just like all kind of chilling across the middle of the defense,
Yep.
especially in cover 2 when your slot corner is just in that yellow zone, hook flat, whatever they call it. It was interesting, just we talked about it throughout the game, that we refused to basically come out of the nickel. I mean, there's a few times that we did go 4-3 and brought McStuffy in. But when you have the nickel and you have Javon Bullard in, I mean, he is by trade a safety, and it's almost like you have a 3 linebacker set. And no matter what the score was, no matter the down and distance, we did not go out of that base set, I would say, more than 5 or 10 plays. And the only other exception was the 4-3.
Yeah, we didn't get too crazy. We did go into cheetah, as they call it, which that's where we kick Nessie inside, and we did Micah once or twice to defensive tackle. And then so that's the way we have Gary, Micah, and Nessie on the field at one time, because I don't think Micah's ready to drop back into off-ball linebacker yet, which is fair. He's still got to get his conditioning up and get more ingrained into the defense. But we went into like that stuff, but that didn't affect our secondary at all. We left them all the exact same. We just took a D tackle off and put Nessie inside. So yeah, we played a lot of that kind of defense, which means a lot of Bullard. But Bullard also played some safety early on in the game. In more of those base sets, he's playing safety when we think it's a run play, which is super interesting and not exactly how you expect safety rotations to work, right? Normally, on most teams, most of the time, you have your 2 starting safeties, and that's pretty much it, right? But Bullard and Williams both played at least a decent amount of true safety, which is interesting, right? We're trying to get that shows how badly we're trying to get the correct players on the field at any given time for the situation and down and distance, which is pretty cool. Not necessarily just having the starting 11 out there whenever possible. So that was cool to see as well.
I did notice that, which teams are going to catch on to that.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think that the bigger delta is not if they run on Evan Williams, because we're saying that Bullard is better at defending the run from the high safety position, right?
Yeah, he'll come downhill a little bit more.
I think you lose a little bit with Williams, not much. I mean, I have never had any concerns when he's out in the field whatsoever. Where I think you have a larger delta, and I am predicting that at some point he will need to make a play, or we will be punished for it and will suffer for it, is Javon Bullard in the passing game, especially from the safety position. Last year, he really struggled back at safety. It seems like when he's in more space, I don't know, bro. I don't know. But what I am telling you is that other teams will have seen what we have discussed on Bullard's up and down play in coverage last year. On a first down, that's a good time to take a play action shot, test Mr. Bullard. I expect teams will. A lot of people have predicted a nice bounce back year from Javon Bullard. I was encouraged overall from what I saw out of him.
He got beat by him on Raw in the slot once, but like so does the rest of the league. You know,
so does the rest of the league. There were some unflattering stats about him and Nixon in coverage. Not pushing the panic button yet. And look what we did all around that, though.
Well,
right?
That's the thing. I mean, any defense, right? There's gonna be a weak point. You can't have everybody's not going to be a Pro Bowler, right? It's how you mask some of that. So if having a bad day is giving up 100 yards receiving to their receivers, right, with a low average and no touchdowns outside of the crazy catch by Isaac Declaw, like that's okay, right? I think some of that's by design, right? Especially with keeping everything in front of us, which is what we were doing for 3/4 of the game at that point. You're going to give up some catches, and that's going to eat some yards, but it took them forever to do anything about it, right? They'd get to the red zone and stall, and after that 8-minute drive, and they get 3 points, it's like, okay, cool. You're down by 14. Who cares, right? So I think some of it's by design. Some of it is I'm also curious this year to see Bullard in the deep safety position or coming up a little bit, because I kind of think his worst spot is manned up in the slot.
I would agree with that completely, but I do
So if
like
you
him
keep
in the slot,
if you
in
keep
zone.
agreed, but if you keep him out of being manned up on slot receivers when he's playing true safety, right? It could go either way depending on the coverage called, right? I'm not sure I'm as concerned then if he's just playing a deep zone or something like that. I don't think it's necessarily his strength, but I'm not as worried about it then. Time will tell. We're going to see more of it. We're going to find out what he's got this year for sure. But I think how they're using them is at least interesting for now.
Oh, the entire secondary rotation is going to be interesting, especially when we get Nate Hobbs back. He's, I believe, questionable for tomorrow's game.
I'm not going to hold my breath.
I'm not either, but when we have him back, I mean, when we get all those boys, you got him, Valentine, Nixon, and then the three safeties you can move around. I mean, a lot of mixing and matching, and it's just going to be fun to see, who goes where and when.
Yeah. Special teams a little bit.
Special teams.
I got a couple things.
Danny Whalen.
Phenomenal.
Worth every
Phenomenal.
penny.
I mean,
Worth every penny.
He averaged 55 yards, and he had a 65-yarder that he outkicked the coverage on, but it still killed the clock at that point in time. So Daniel Whalen looked phenomenal. McManus made every kick. None of them were hard, but who cares? He made every kick. I love that.
I don't even think about him anymore. Like, I don't even have, the anxiety. It's just like, he's just going to go do it. It's fine.
That's the cool thing. The other cool thing I thought was who we had returning kicks, just in general, punts or kicks. Because I'm going to give us our flowers a little bit. I think maybe especially me. Like, I kind of called Savion, too.
Oh,
right?
You totally did. I think in response, I was like, Lucas, he is not actually Cordell Patterson. But you were 100% right.
I was. They put him back there. They never showed that during the preseason or training camp, but they put him back there. It didn't go great, but hey, give him some practice back. I don't really care, honestly. Not too worried about it. In a big moment, maybe you put Keyshawn back there, or once Hobbs is back, maybe you feel a little bit better using Keyshawn in key moments or something like that. And maybe we would have anyways. We just didn't have any key moments because we kind of just beat him from the get-go. So that was interesting, and I like that we're trying to get him involved. Everything I said last week about it, I like that we're trying to get him involved. Golden got a punt return. That was kind of cool. And then
shifty.
Jaden Reed took the other two and had a better one, but still, I thought that was interesting as well. I'll take that, And I like that we're trying to get those guys involved in the game, when especially Savion isn't going to have a lot to do the rest of the time, right? And even Golden, he had 2 targets, 2 catches, give him a punt return here or there. Just kind of keeps him engaged, keeps him in the flow of the game, I think. And gets a playmaker the ball in their hand. And he looked better on the punt return than I thought he would, given how I don't necessarily think he's the best after the catch, most elusive guy in the world. But he showed more on the punt return than he did receiving. So that was cool.
Just going to say phone booth.
Yeah, little phone booth moves there, I thought. I thought he did all right. I'm not sold. We still got a long ways to go. I love Matthew Golden. That's just not his biggest skill set, But cool that special teams was just kind of a positive across the board. Love to see it.
Yeah, it's nice that it's not, okay, special teams, how are we going to lose the game today? That's
Correct.
Really nice to not have that anxiety anymore.
Yeah.
But when we're talking about picking returners, I think it comes down to a very simple principle and question. Risk and reward, right? So you think about the risk, Matthew Golden is hopefully in the next few weeks going to be clearly our number 1 wide receiver. I'm not talking about getting 70% of the catches, but he should be the number 1 target in the offense. He has that upside. He looks like an absolute stud.
He's
at a
playing
steal.
the snaps. Yeah.
Yes. So he goes down. That's a big part of our offense. Jaden Reed. Out of the guys who are left outside of Watson, when Jaden Reed has been hot, when we're talking about these receivers and tight ends, forgive me when I say this, Luke, I love Tucker Kraft, but Jaden Reed at his best has the highest upside, the highest performance out of any of the ball catchers left.
That are healthy, yeah.
Yes. So then Jaden Reed is a risk. Keyshawn Nixon, CB1, CB2, I don't know. He's a preferred starter out there. Risk. Savion Williams.
Not a
Yeah,
risk.
he's receiver 4 or 5. We saw him do the Wildcat quarterback stuff, which I believe, as you mentioned, when you mentioned it's Savion Williams, could be a potential returner, is that he has that vision. He has the speed. Why not give him a shot? And this is somebody who, as you said, is not going to have a whole lot of opportunities on offense, which kind of makes me sad, but I can also be like, yeah, I don't want to take Jade Reed off the field. I don't want to take Matthew Golden.
Right.
You can take Dontavian, but whatever, it's fine. Although, shout out Dontavian, no drops.
We'll take it.
Notice I called you your actual name today, not Droptavian. Love that. It's going to be a good season if I can call you Dontavian. That's a goal.
It'll be even better if we get back to Devontavian with some of those moves off the line. So,
we'll see.
We'll see if we get there.
My brain control alt deleted that existed. It's
been a while.
It has been a while. But here's to hoping. Okay. On to the Commanders.
Yes, sir.
So they beat the Giants.
The Giants are really bad.
Yeah, it's not really saying much. They won 21-6. Russell Wilson looks cooked. I know, cliche. I don't really care. Not the most impressive day for Jaden Daniels in the offense. 19-30.
They did what they were supposed to.
They were fine. 233, 1 touchdown. The Giants did have some success on defense, partially due to the fact with how ridiculously stacked and oversaturated their pass rush room is between drafting Abdul Carter, Brian Burns, Kayvon Thibodeau, Dexter Lawrence. You have at least 4 first-round picks.
And they're all pretty good. Thibodeau's probably the worst one of those.
Then they're all pretty young. I mean, Lawrence is the old man at 27. Yeah. So, I mean, good for that room. Washington's gonna had to deal with a very stout front before, and now you got Micah Parsons, Rashawn Gary, Lucas Van Ness, Devontae Wyatt, Colby Wooden. I mean, what's worse? I don't know. I'm kidding. I do know. We got Colby Jack Cheese and Nessie, and they don't. So there's the end of that. But Washington's an interesting team. They're
the oldest team in the league, and we're the youngest.
They are, which you don't think that, because when you think of the Commanders, you think of Jaden Daniels, who is the face of the franchise, right? And he is a cool operator, man. He's back to throw. He's out there scrambling. He, kind of like you were saying with Jordan this week, he looks relaxed. He makes it look easy. But outside of him and a couple other players like, Bill Krosky Merritt, my draft crush, Luke's fantasy player of the year. Yep. You're welcome, sir. I mean, it's a bunch of old names. Like Terry McLaurin is getting up to be 30 now. He's still an elite wide receiver, but
Austin
Eckler is north of 30. Debo Samuel did have a nice game.
He did.
They're still going to try to make him do Debo things. They're still going to get him on jet sweeps. He looks faster than I would have anticipated based upon all the shit talking of what physical state he was in when he came into training camp.
Yep.
But still not like prime 49ers Debo. However, I do feel that if he does any 49er-y stuff against us, I'll be very upset.
It's going to be triggering.
Let that be Bill, or let that be Noah Brown, who's their number 2 receiver, who's fine. But you got Zach Ertz, a tight end, who's a solid 45 years old, still caught a touchdown. I don't know to the extent that he has the Travis Kelce, Avada Kedavra, get away from me, repelling spell that keeps the defenders away in zone coverage, where there's just no physical way that based on their speed and ability to juke, you should not be open. There's just sometimes it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, completely agree.
Especially when not so much Ertz, but Kelce in that offense, bro. Who else are you going to be scared of? Why aren't there 10 people on you? But
completely agree. The defense isn't any better. Defense is older.
Oh yeah, I was going to say, let's continue just going through the roster of names real quick. I mean, we got some former Demons on this team. You got Debo on offense. You got Bobby Wagner on defense.
Who's 72 at least.
But I think he was a Pro Bowler last year. He still played great, and I actually believe he was 35, which is insane to play middle linebacker at a high level.
He gets a bajillion tackles, but obviously you can take advantage of him athletically at this point.
You got him. You got Frankie Luvu, who is a big free agent acquisition. This is a guy who...
Another thumper.
Came into the league undrafted. He'll put the hit stick on you. He rose his way up, and I believe he was second-team All-Pro last year. He is a force to be reckoned with. Honestly, when he was a free agent a couple years back, I wanted the Packers to pick him up, but as we know, that's
something to keep in mind is they're both kind of thumpers. Really isn't a guy you want to see in coverage out of those two, which something hopefully we take advantage of.
But speaking of their coverage, they got the second-year player Mike Sanderstill out of, I believe, Michigan last year. He made some nice plays in the playoffs. Yep. You also have Marshawn Lattimore, late-season trade from the Saints. Yeah, he's up around 30, and this is a guy. I feel like when he was moved, Luke, and like the name you think of an elite corner, and it's been a few years since we've seen that on him. Injuries have definitely taken away a little bit of his shine, but like. Yep. I feel like Dontavian Wicks can cook Marshawn Lattimore at this point.
I like it. You also missed Von Miller.
I was looking at it. I was going to say Von Miller, who I'm more than okay with being departed from the Buffalo Bills, is a shell of himself, playing a few rotational snaps for them at this point. And then just another little shout out. Not a big name, but Jazan Newton, I believe, out of Illinois, right?
Out of U of I, yeah.
Out of U of I, so a little homegrown. U of I's own. Doesn't count for the show, but I'll still say it.
Fair enough. They also, someone that got mocked to us a lot this offseason, Trey Amos out of Ole Miss.
Yes.
Quarterback that a lot of us won in the second round. Interesting player, so we'll see how that goes. But interesting team, really old, like we said, but still pretty dangerous. I think the question with them is, was last year their peak? You know, are they better? Maybe. I don't know. Time will tell. But anytime you play they also have Eddie Goldman, who is not Goldman. Nearly as old as I anticipated. He must have been like 15 years old when he got drafted. He's only 31. Wild.
What?
Right? I
feel like he's got to be like 33, 34.
At least, right? Oh, I didn't even look at their second and third string quarterbacks. Wild. Mariota and Josh Johnson.
That is not helping them on their age numbers for sure. Josh Johnson has to be like 38 by now.
He's got to be. So
didn't he get? Wait, pause. It's a backup quarterback. We got to hit it.
Yep.
Didn't Josh Johnson get his first career victory at age like 33 with the Commanders?
I don't know if it was with the Commanders or not, but I think you're right. He got drafted in 2008. Jesus.
Oh my.
He's 39.
Dude. Lucas, in 2008, I hadn't met you yet.
I think we may have technically met in 2008. Maybe.
Okay, I guess freshman year, but I'm sorry. When I think 2008, I think like 8th grade because we're that cool age.
That's
where
fair. 8's 8.
That whole number 9, thing. Yeah.
Fair enough. But yeah, I mean, that's wild, right? Crazy stuff.
That's a long career.
They got some talent, right? Bill, Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, your boy.
My boy,
interesting
Bill.
to see what he does. Austin Eckler's always annoying. Debo showed he's still got a little juice left in the tank. Scary Terry's great. We're facing the exact opposite of Jared Goff and Jaden Daniels, so the rush plan is going to have to be very different. Because at least Jared Goff, you knew where he was going to be on every play, right? He was going to be back there. He wasn't going to move. The one time he tried to, Micah chased him down like a gazelle. So that'll be really interesting to kind of see what they do. Very different offense. They want to spread you out. Under Cliff Kingsbury, their OC. So it's going to be a really interesting matchup, one that I'm looking forward to, one I think we definitely can take advantage of, but kind of while being two good teams, kind of a polar opposite to the Lions in many ways.
Going back to what you said about, do we think that the Commanders hit their peak last year? Or, is the best still yet to come? It's an interesting dynamic, the dichotomy of these young guys got a year older, a little more experience, another training camp to see everything, but the older guys also got another year older.
Yeah.
And last year we saw several guys, like Bobby Wagner, for example, even Scary Terry's getting up there, and guys that are playing better than you would expect to at that age.
Yeah.
So what are we going to see more of? Are we going to see more development from the young guys or more rust from the older guys that have been out in the sun and the rain a little bit too long? That might really guide the ship that will be this Commanders season.
Yeah, is the growth going to be bigger than the fall off? Right.
Exactly.
At some point, you're going to get that tipping point if you don't keep adding a bunch of really good new talent. So who knows when that tipping point is? If it somehow magically is Thursday, that'd be cool. I'll be good with it.
I think the biggest threat to us from this team is just Jaden Daniels' running ability, Jaden Daniels' ability to do a little Josh Allen, keep the play alive, find somebody that's open. Again, they don't really have world beaters, Scary Terry is still a force to be reckoned with, but like Noah Brown, Zach Ertz, I ain't scared of those boys. But if you give them, 5, 6, 7 seconds, they will get open. It's going to be imperative that we get pressure, but we can't overassume. Jaden Daniels is a guy that we have seen with that elite pocket presence, not only to feel the pressure, but to identify where the lanes are going to be able to be to run, to step up in the pocket, let the Velociraptor, whichever one it is that we have, go flying right by him, step up into that hole and run. And he is a smart man. He will slide when he needs to. He looks a little frail. He looks a little lanky, but he does not allow himself to take those shots. And he's a little more built than you would think, but he's a smart guy. He protects himself. He protects the ball. It's going to be a very interesting matchup, but I do think we are the better team.
I would agree with everything you said. I think Jaden Daniels is the kind of quarterback that historically would give us so many problems, right?
I didn't want to say that.
Absolute nightmares. The plus side is Hafley last year did a phenomenal job containing all of the mobile quarterbacks we played, right? And really stifling what they did well. So I think, that we're kind of headed more in that direction. This will be another big test of that. But Jaden Daniels had a really good rookie year. He looked pretty good week 1. He's definitely our biggest problem, without a doubt, right? If we contain him, if we make him uncomfortable, we probably win the game. Maybe easily. If he kind of runs wild, or we let him be a true creator and playmaker back there, and he's comfortable, it's going to be a long night.
I'm going to say we need another really big game out of the run defense. Colby Wooden, Devontae Wyatt, Carl, Nazir, Brinson, whoever. Because I know.
Finally thought of one.
That we are probably on the pretty short list of podcast hosts that do mock drafts.
Okay, that's true.
That had Bill being drafted.
Fair.
So I'm sure Bill listened to that episode, and Bill knows that the Packers should have taken him, and we didn't. And I don't want this to turn into a Bill revenge game. Please, for the love of God, boys, don't let him do it. Austin Eckler can catch a Texas route for a touchdown. It's fine. Just don't let Bill cook. Make Bill beat Ja'Cory tomorrow. Thank you.
That's phenomenal. Let's just quickly touch on injuries, then give the fans a little prediction, shall we?
And maybe we used to do this, just like a little look around the league.
Yeah. Well, for sure, let's do NFC North. All right.
Injuries. So, there is a lot of bad going on in the world, folks, today. And unfortunately, there's a lot of bad going on in Packer world as well, because we have 2 Packer players that will not be playing tomorrow, but they will be in our hearts. They will be with us. Number 1 is Bo Melton, our boy. Number 16 in your program, number 1 in your heart. He left either the 3rd or the 4th quarter against the Lions. And a little banged up shoulder. And he hasn't practiced the past 2 days. So we'll see if we get him back next week. But no Bo, which means Kamal Haddon, you're CB4, which means we're still staying in nickel because no way in hell we bring him on the field. Absolutely not.
The Commanders are going to be spread looks most of the time. This could be interesting, but yeah.
The other one I forgot.
Brenton Cox.
So Brenton Cox, again, nice rotational player, but he's legitimately like defensive end 7.
He's not
6 something.
5 or 6. We probably call up Mosby.
Bro, there weren't enough snaps to go around.
There weren't. No, there weren't. We probably call up Mosby would be my guess, but we'll see. Then Micah's questionable. Yeah, whatever. Hobbs is questionable.
I was just going to say, it isn't just because of my Bo-mance, but Bo is definitely the bigger blow.
He is.
When it comes to
Zach Tom, Aaron Banks,
team.
both questionable. We'll find out tomorrow.
And Hobbs, you said.
Hobbs, questionable, yeah. Those 3 are kind of game-time decisions, allegedly, so we'll see. We'll see. We're wearing the whites tomorrow, which is weird.
I did see
We're wearing
that.
all white.
I don't love those, but against Seattle, when we went up and smacked them around, we wore those. That's the last time I can remember us doing that.
But wearing them at home early in the season Interesting call.
It's a little odd. Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be a white out. Weird, but I'll love the jerseys if we put a smack on the Commanders, so that's all that matters.
Before we do the predictions,
Oh, boy.
what were our predictions from last week? Because I know at least one of us said Colby wouldn't TFL, and he got 2. So do I win double my prize?
Yeah, sure, you can. I think I said Jordan Love was going to have a big day through the air, which through the first half, he had like 160 yards. I was looking pretty good. Then he had like 20 the entire second half, so not great. Not great, my man. Not
But
great.
that's also like
Game
game flow. Did he miss some flows? I wouldn't say it was I didn't say it was a bad day. It was a good day from Jordan.
Yeah, I would say. Okay, what do you got? This is great radio.
38-13
Oh,
pack.
okay. What oddly specific stat do you want to pull out?
Carl Brooks has half a sack.
Oh, okay.
Luke Musgrave over 25 yards.
Those both would be doing some work. Okay. I'm going to go. I'm not sure the offense can be high flying yet, really. I'm going to go 28-17. Okay, 28-17.
And give me some stats, baby.
Oh, I know. I'm going to go a little more on the beaten path. I'm going to go Matthew Golden, 7 receptions for 97 yards. Okay. I think we try to get him involved in some short stuff, I think, to kind of ramp those reception numbers up a little bit. With maybe like one decently long play in there. And I'm going to say he's going to prove the haters wrong, man. I think Javon Bullard gets a pick. If I called that shot, that'd be woo. But yeah, we'll see. But if both those things happen, I feel pretty good about where we're at.
And when you look at how we kind of expect Washington to attack us, I mean, you can send Scary Terry deep on the outside, right? He can cook, but like little receiver routes, Zach Ertz, Debo going over the middle, Debo doing some jet crap.
Be a lot of middle of the fields.
The holy trinity there are basically 3 linebackers and nickel. They got to do some work for sure.
I like it. All right, what do you want to talk about around the league or around the division? For sure, we got to touch on that game because that was wild.
Yeah, the Bears got. I got to say, as a big fan of the over 6'2" corner, I had heard of Nez John Wright, whatever his name was.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, that's cool. Like, I guess, Madden or something, right? Big corner. We all know how I love those. Mm-hmm. Never signed him. Never. And on the Bears, I'm like, oh, look at that. Look at all that wingspan he can cover. And then he gets a pick 6. And I was like, oh, shit. Look at that. But at some point.
We might have been able to get that pick 6, man. That was brutal.
Yeah. Mr. McCarthy.
Illinois zone.
I know you had to go there. I just felt like with the injuries the Bears had in the secondary, if J.J. McCarthy didn't do what he did, I would be like, and I think I said in the group, we were texting like in the first half, I was like, shit, they should have picked up Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
Like,
he
that looks
so
foolish.
Bad.
He looked so bad in the first half. He looked better in the second half. Now, as we know, Kevin O'Connell is their head coach, who has won Coach of the Year. Mm-hmm. He's playing like real depth in the Bears secondary at corner, and they had Edmonds out at linebacker too. So I felt like O'Connell was just doing a better job of taking advantage of those personnel issues the Bears were having. I mean, McCarthy did have a hell of a run and did have a couple of catches. I mean, the Bears have shown they can still implode. Caleb shows that he still sees ghosts, and the clock gets going a little quick. And even more so than Jordan, has a propensity to just miss by like 15 yards in some of his throws. Just
that one to DJ Moore on the left where it was a walk-in touchdown. Like, wild that he missed. No one was within DJ Moore, like 15 yards of him, and he still somehow missed him by like another 10 yards. Wild.
It's like, how does that happen? Were you having some popcorn? To slip out? We have a longest yard situation. Like, Caleb, all of our coworkers' mental health depend on you. And it's okay if you let them down.
100%,
I don't really
100%.
care. I'm cool. We're cool with that here at South Dakota Curtain. Go for it, man. Luke and I are very kind people. We'll talk to you about your problems, but like,
I'm also going to laugh if Caleb Williams busts. But yeah,
it would be great. So I don't feel like we learned a lot. I just felt like it could have been, a real early bad omen for McCarthy. Good for him for rallying, but I'm not going to sit up here and say like, oh my God, he's the best ever, because what he had around him versus what he was facing, again, like, he only has, Justin Jefferson and TJ Hawkinson,
Aaron Jones,
reincarnated Adam Thielen, and yeah.
Poor guy.
And Eric Wilson on defense saving your ass.
I mean, he came in, made some plays.
That's what Eric Wilson does.
He waits till someone gets hurt. He comes in, plays half a game, looks amazing, and then goes back to his hole of special teams. That's what he does.
He is my favorite Gopher. Wait, did he go to Minnesota? No. Why did that pop in my head?
I don't know.
I mean, the Gopher analogy is fair because he just kind of goes back in his hole. But like, are you looking up where Eric Wilson went?
Absolutely. I have a thought, but I want to see if I'm right.
Like Cincinnati?
No.
Folks, we will find it so you all can sleep tonight. Don't you worry. We do not let you down here at SOTCC.
He did go to Cincinnati. He started his career at Northwestern. And then for a year, then transferred to Cincinnati. That's a deep pull, my man.
You know who else went to Cincinnati?
The Kelsey brothers. Wiley, the tight end on the Titans.
You would bring up the Kelsey brothers before you bring up the prophet Josiah DeGuara. Are you kidding
Desmond
me right
Ritter.
now?
I'm just gonna keep going.
Hey, is his name Desmond Ritter or is his name the Riddler?
Well, right now
As
he
coined
doesn't have
by
a job, so
okay, I changed his name forever,
I know.
sir.
Okay, fair enough.
Thank you. Yeah. So I don't really know how much I learned. What about you? What do you
I think I
about
learned
game?
that I'm just not concerned about either one, really. I think that's what I learned.
They felt like watered down versions of what we expected them to be.
Correct. I was like, wow, this isn't great, which is good for us, right? Obviously, I think the bigger, longer term concern is with the Bears, because McCarthy's in such a position that he can kind of ride the coattails until he figures it out, I think. And the expectations have lowered enough in Minnesota for the year that if they go 8-9 and McCarthy has like a couple good games, people probably feel okay about it, right? Whereas we know, because we live south of the Cheddar Curtain, we're surrounded by it every day, Bears fans are going to lose their mind if Caleb Williams doesn't show out the rest of the year, right? If he doesn't hit 4,000 passing yards, if he doesn't look amazing, if they all somehow think they're going to be second in the division, I have no idea how. Like, I literally had a coworker of mine, one of my closer coworkers, want to bet me lunch that the Bears were going to win more games than the Packers this year. I was like, are you out of your mind? I'm not going to let you make that bad bet. Like,
You were a kind person.
there's no way. We're better top to bottom, and we don't have Caleb Williams just randomly escaping the pocket for no reason. I will give him credit. Dude looked fast. He's got some wheels on him that I didn't realize he had last year. Dude was speedy.
Retweet. Yeah.
But yeah, the processing, the just randomly missing wide open people, even in the middle of the field on intermediate routes and just like at their feet, not even close, don't even give him a chance to catch the football. Wild. But then he has a couple amazing throws on, that one when he's rolling out to the right, hit dude on the sideline, like phenomenal throw and catch. But then he can't make the easy throws. He kind of reminded me a little bit of Arch Manning, actually, in his first start at Texas. Like, dude, why are you just standing in the middle of the pocket? You get little happy feet, and then you throw it sidearm for absolutely no reason and just dirt it in front of the receiver. Like, what are you doing? I'm completely fine with it, but mechanics were weird. The inner clock was weird. He tried to, like, intentionally ground a ball for no apparent reason. Like, there was just some weird stuff going on. And I don't know if it's because he can't process it. I don't know if it's a new offense. But a new offense shouldn't make your accuracy just go down the toilet, right? Weird. Some weird stuff.
And just the kind of like you were mentioning, just the misappropriation of the internal clock based on the reality of the situation.
Yeah.
Maybe part of that is scar tissue from how poor the Bears offensive line was last year.
That happens, right? That happens to a lot of quarterbacks that get put behind bad offensive lines.
But that being said, I still feel like there were points last year where he was, granted, he was in it, but like I felt like there were still points last year where he was inappropriately happy feet based on the
100%.
situation and reality around him.
And like even that first half that people want to give him a lot of credit for, it was all bailing out of the pocket early, picking up yards with his legs, which he did, like I said, better than I thought he could, and checkdowns. Right? That's how they got down the field. And it worked, but that doesn't work forever. You have to thread the field horizontally and vertically at some point.
I felt like in the first half, I was seeing some flashes of the arm and his legs.
Yeah.
And for a little bit, I was like, oh, shit. I don't like what I'm seeing. But it's the name of the game is consistency, right? He shows the flashes, and if he could just turn down his pocket anxiety by like 80%.
You may have something there.
Settle in. Like if he was honestly, this is going to be unironically really funny. If you could calm him down and take away the random pass that misses 12 yards, you know who Caleb Williams is? Jaden Daniels.
I was going to say he was giving me some Kyler Murray vibes.
Well, with how erratic he is, yeah.
And even just the just kind of running around for no particular reason, but it kind of works sometimes. Like, he was giving me some of those vibes.
I could see it. A lot of circles. A lot of circles in both of them. They like to run in circles.
Correct. For not a lot of reason. Sometimes it works. Most of the time it doesn't. There you are. Really interesting stuff. Is there anything else you want to talk about around the league? That was my big thing. I just want to touch on that game.
You always look at the analytics of who listens to the show. And I believe that we do have listeners in New York, which, as we have discussed.
We've had listeners of the vast majority of the country at this point.
Yes. But there's something specifically that I just need to hit home here.
Okay.
As we've discussed on the show, I believe, or at least, loyal listeners who know your boy, Devin High, know that I went to nursing school in Buffalo, so the Bills are my number 2 team. And a lot of us saw either the highlights or like myself saw it live, the glorious comeback that the Buffalo Bills had against the Baltimore Ravens, down by 15 late.
That's when I went to sleep.
When we were getting absolutely ramrolled. Couldn't stop Derrick Henry. Couldn't stop Lamar Jackson. It was either a sack, like a 30-yard play. There was nothing in between. And on offense, it's all these haphazard plays, a little bit of luck, a lot of heart, hell of a comeback. The reason why I wanted to bring this up is because we still have listeners in New York, and I don't talk to anybody in New York outside of Buffalo. My people every once in a while, and it's nice to see that my people still support. But people, if you're listening and you're one of the people that were at the game and left, shame on you. Shame on you. Shame on you. I knew from the age of 10, in the words of Chris Berman, nobody circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills. And even Josh Allen was like, it's okay, guys, but next time have more faith in us. Be better.
As someone who very, very rarely at this point in his life gets to go to a football game, I'm not leaving until it's over. Right? Like, that's not happening.
Last one we went to, we almost didn't leave at all.
Correct. Yeah. We were there for Rodgers' last game against the Lions. That was a tough one. But yeah, like as someone who that is such a rare and precious occurrence, right? So valuable in so many ways. Like I've never understood people that leave sporting events like that early, especially a football game that's expensive, right? There's a very finite amount of them. Such a marquee matchup. Like, yeah, I'm not leaving that, right? Like, I am watching that till the bitter end, no matter what happens, because you never know. You could be there for greatness, right? And yeah, a lot of people missed out on being able to witness that firsthand, which is crazy to me. But to each their own, to some degree. I expect the Buffalo fans will be better. They are one of the best fan bases behind the Packers, of course, in the NFL. So I expect them to make some better decisions going forward.
And the only other NFL thing of note I had was George Kittle is now out for San Francisco. And MVS was either active or on the practice squad last week, but they should probably bring him up if they need another weapon.
Oh, yeah, because Mac Jones needs someone to throw to because Purdy's out.
Oh, shit, that's right. That's actually hilarious. I wish we were playing them. I really do.
Me too. It'd be like last year when we played whoever started that game for them. Good times.
Good times. Now I'm trying to think of any other like newsworthy thing that affects us or Packers in new places, but nothing's really coming to mind. I feel like it's been
That's it so far.
We touched Aaron Jones, but it's been kind of a quiet season so far for former Packers who moved their talents on elsewhere.
Rodgers looked great for the Steelers. That's about
Oh
it,
my
right?
God, how did I forget that? Whew. Yeah, he couple of those throws.
Looked kind of Rodgersy.
He's him. He's going to be a little bit a diet version.
Right.
You know, you're not going to be able to he's not going to be able to extend plays and evade sacks like he used to. I think that
not.
it was either Herman or Bukowski said that the 2014 season when Rodgers was hobbling around kind of proved to him that Rodgers would be able to play late into his career.
Yeah.
And play at a high level. So, you know, teams are going to blitz him. They're going to make him prove that he can still do it. But on a few of those throws, I was just like, oh shit, this is what it feels like watching him do that when he's not your team anymore.
Weird.
Like it was a little frightening watching him, again, attempt to scramble, kind of hobble a few steps, and then just flick the wrist. And it's like a 25-yard pass
Perfect.
right between the numbers. It's a good thing we have Kobe Wooden.
It's a good thing we have Kobe Wooden. Really excited for that game. Really excited for that game. That's going to be something special.
The predictions for that game
Are going to be epic.
That'll be much listened podcast material right there,
100%.
folks.
100%.
All righty, buddy. Well, I think until next time,
Go Pack Go.
go Pack Go.